With Nigeria's economy still going through unprecedented devastation by the COVID-19 pandemic, opportunities for expansion have practically disappeared for a lot of small and medium enterprises. Making a return on investment for many is now the exception rather than the rule. And critically, what some of the players in the manufacturing sector consider the natural recourse is a deliberate watering down of the quality and quantity of their products in order not to raise prices and be seen as economic saboteurs or opportunists who are only interested in taking from and not giving back to their countrymen, irrespective of the circumstances. Joining us now to talk about the challenges involved in maintaining quality control and assurance across Nigeria's manufacturing sector and production lines in the face of ongoing economic pressure is Farouk A. Salim, a certified pharmacist and Director General of the Standards Organisation of Nigeria. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Thank you.
Mr. Salim, good
morning.
morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Quickly, you've been quoted as saying that as DG, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, you are going to reorganize the place and that there is reorganization going on. What is the nature of that reorganization? What do you hope to achieve?
Well, the nature of the reorganization is multifaceted because the organization is very diverse, as you know. We are essentially a standard organization, an enforcement organization, and we are a management training organization. So we are using a multifaceted approach to our organization. So we are moving people around, we are encouraging, we are bringing in new people to develop our activities and make it more efficient.
Right, thank you. Now, you've been quoted in the media to have postulated for the possible reparations of substandard goods back to their countries of origin. Can you expand on that, please?
Well, that's a wishful thinking on my part. That was something I was hoping eventually will catch on, and then we'll we'll work at a higher level, because it involves more diplomatic relationship with the government. So it will involve probably Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it will involve the presidency, it will involve the Ministry of Industry. It's something that what I was saying is originally was that if people can go to other countries and import substandard stuff and bring it into the country, there is no reason why we should not find an agreement where we should be able to have them take those bad products back to their countries they came from, and then hopefully the country there will penalize the factory or the industry making those products. If you recall, several years back, we had people importing nuclear waste products, I think in Calabar or somewhere like that.
Cocoa.
Yes. So essentially, what should have been done was take those nuclear waste back to the country of origin, Italy, and then let the people there handle their own waste and then punish the culprits who try to sell it to us. So for us to have something like that, there must be an agreement between two governments, which is way above my level right now. But I'm hoping that if we can have an agreement where the people bringing in substandard goods, if they did it deliberately, we punish our own over here and they punish theirs over there. But if it is a situation where our Nigerian businessmen were innocently hoodwinked to buy products that they thought was up to standard, then that other country should be able to penalize the culprits and make it, make them pay for that.
So good. You talked about that waste issue, and I'm going to bring in two insights. Number one will be, what will you be doing, to be able to prevent dumping? This one that we've joined AFCTA now, and we have a bigger market in Africa of free trade. And secondly, I want to talk about what is the Standard Organization doing, of Nigeria doing, as regards the end of life of electrical products. So the fact that we buy laptops, we buy phones and the likes, these things come to their end of life. And when they get to their end of life, they become toxic and harmful. How do we dispose them? What are we doing with those electrical products, big computer bags and the likes, television sets and things like that? What is the conversation about the end of life disposal of those products?
Well, the disposal policy for end-of-life products, essentially, we do have other organizations like the environmental organizations. Now, that would be something they should be able to address with. Our responsibility is to make sure the products people are using right now are up to the standards that the manufacturer claim they have, and up to the standard we set in this country for our products. So end-of-life products essentially is an area where it's not part of the standard organization's purview. We have environmental organizations that are supposed to watch out for those kind of things. But like if you're importing products that are already obsolete or they are not good, then definitely it's our responsibility to stop those.
So it concerns you, and I deliberately asked you that question because a lot of products that reach their end of life are being imported into Nigeria
well, if they
for use.
If they are imported
and they're
for
supposed to be end of life already.
That's why I was saying, if you probably understood what I said earlier, if it is something coming into the country and it's already below standards, then that's something we have to deal with. And that's the reason why we are there. We're supposed to be there at the ports to make sure products coming in are not only genuine, they are not only good and up to standard, but they are not expired products. Now, if that's what you are asking, yes, that's my responsibility and my organization's responsibility to make sure things coming into the country are good for use. But if there are products in this country that were already brought in genuinely and their lifespan expired, then that would be something else. It's outside my...
So what have you been doing in that state? Have you been checking these products? What are we supposed to hear? You know, how many have you intercepted? Because a lot of people say we've not heard so much as regards this fight against substandard products from Standard Organisation of Nigeria.
I think your TV station picked up one of the activities we did the other day, which was intercepted already imported used tires into the country in Port Harcourt. And we confiscated those. They are like 4 containers worth of stuffed tires, and we already destroyed them because we had to negotiate with the person. Either we go to court or they sign a waiver so we can destroy it. So we do that. We do that with imported used gas cylinders, which we actually destroyed 4 weeks ago. So whatever we are able to catch, we don't let go. But the issue is we are not in a situation to 100% catch everything that comes into this country because of other situations that I'm sure since you do your research, you know why.
Well, Mr. Salim, you have a metrology directorate, and that directorate was mentioned with regard to recalibrating way bridges at the Apapa ports recently. Now, where are you with that, and how significant is that? And very quickly, you're talking about catching this, catching that. Now, I know you are not the police, you are not the customs. What level of support or synergy do you have as an organization with the security agencies who can help apprehend some of the people who bring in substandard products, or at least, seize those products?
Well, I'll start with the last question because sometimes too many questions I forget about them. Synergy I have with authorities, especially the police and the DSS, is excellent. We get as much help as we can get. The issue is, as you know, we don't have enough personnel to go around the country. We have other issues apart from substandard goods in the country. So these personnel are kind of spread thin, but with a little availability of individuals, they give us maximum support, and we do work very well with them. We do need more people, but then the police need more people, the military needs more people. So with what we have, we are doing very well, and they are very cooperative. I cannot thank them enough for that. The weight bridges that we were calibrating, well, there's so many things, Mr. Abati, there. When you have the bridges up to standard and doing exactly what they are supposed to do, that way trucks going through, you are making sure your roads live longer, you're making sure there's safety on the roads, you're making sure the accidents don't occur, and you're making sure the lifespan of the vehicles are extended. So it's a very good and decent development. Mind you, we used to have these weight bridges in the 70s where when people overload their trucks, police will stop them and tell them to decrease it. But now it's normal for you to see overloaded trucks driving on our streets, and that destroys the lifespan of our roads, destroy the lifespan of the vehicles, and then it's very dangerous to the community, because when you have an accident, you have more casualties than usual, and drivers cannot control an overloaded car. So it's a lot of good benefits with that, and we're looking forward to working with industries, both government organizations and industries, to help them some more by calibrating those items.
Right. You've made a lot of efforts with regards to trying to stop the flow of substandard goods into Nigeria. You have made arrests, there have been prosecutions, there have been seizures, all kinds of things. But the menace continues unabated. I mean, Rufai here mentioned electrical goods, you mentioned tires, there's building materials, drugs, just toys, all areas. What can you do to finally bring a solution to this problem that's costing Nigeria trillions of naira every year?
That's $1 billion question. If there is a simple solution to this issue, believe me, the government and the rest of us will probably pounce on it and solve the problem once and for all. The issue of substandard goods has multifaceted, branch issues. You have individuals who knowingly import stuff into the country because they want to make profit. You have individuals, because of economic situations in the country, who like to buy things they can afford. And then you have people like us, an organization, trying to stop those products from coming in. And then you have people who don't bear the consequences of selling those products on the street. So what we do essentially is that we have to continue our efforts of preventing these items from coming into the country. We have to liaise with the market groups, because most of these individual importers are categorized based on what they import. They have an association, and those associations essentially control most of the workflow. So one of the first things I did 3-4 months ago when I first started was to reach out to these organizations, explain to them why we are doing what we are doing, and explain to them that the risk not only involves them, some members of their family unknowingly can go and buy those products in the market and it will harm them. And also they are destroying their business, because if you go to a certain place and buy a product and it doesn't work, you're not going back to that business and buying it again. So it's a lot of different approaches we do. We do the sensitization, we do enforcement, we do market surveys, which we do a lot of times. So we are working on those things and we are doing very well with them. But letting those products into the country is the primary goal of most organizations, Customs, Standard Organisation of Nigeria, NAFDAC, and all other organizations. But the problem is essentially we are limited by our access to where those products come into the country. And we are working very hard to have more access, to have more computer access to the custom programs, and to have more access to physical inspection in the ports. But this is something that is taking time, and we're working on it.
All right, we'll go for a quick break, but I'll just launch a question. The first question will be, there have been talks about SON not having enough personnel. I mean, what's your take on that? And what will be your requirements, from the government to be able to do your work effectively? Secondly, I want you to take me through SON's certification process, because a lot of people have been complaining back and forth that they need proper understanding on that. But that'll be after this quick commercial break. We'll go for a break. We'll come back. We'll talk to you afterwards. Right, welcome back to the Morning Show right here on the Rise News channel. We've got Farouk A. Salim, a certified pharmacist and Director General of Standard Organisation of Nigeria. It's a pleasure having you on the program once again. I mean, I talked about personnel. A lot of people say personnel is a challenge. And what are the things you'll require, from the government to do your job effectively? And secondly, I want you to take us through the process of certification of the Standards Organization of Nigeria.
To do my job effectively, primarily I need to have access to all the ports in the country, because 85% of the products that come into the country come through the ports. That's one. I need more employees, but unfortunately, that is a question that probably will take more time because we get our salaries paid by the government, and the government is stressed as it is with the burden of paying salaries and doing infrastructure development. So essentially, with time, I'm sure we can address those issues. Equipment-wise, we do need more equipment, and we have set up a plan in our budget where there's going to be a more systematic approach where we build on the products we needed. So we are adjusting our budget system where we start getting our equipment ahead of time, and then we distributing them. For example, I need at least like 100 concrete testing machines in all the offices in the country, but that costs a lot of money. So it's something that we have to build slowly. We need vehicles to move around the country. We have a very diverse country where, if you have to be in every nook and cranny of the country, you need more vehicles, more access. So there's a lot of material support that we needed, but essentially the government is giving us as much as they can give us within their limits. I'm getting full cooperation from sister agencies to do my job, and I have access to authorities where if I need something in an emergency setup, I'm getting that. So we have to make do just like every other organization, every other state in the country with natural resources available. So we need help, but we're making do with what we have. Now, when it comes to the process of registration, essentially there are basically 3 types of registrations we have in the country. You have the man-cap registration, which is for practical purposes, is for our local factories. We go into your facility, we inspect your facility, we check your management system to make sure everybody is safe, employees are safe, there's proper handling of products, hazards, and otherwise. And then we certify that product if they get conformity with the standards. So that will be the man-cap. And then we have another system where we call the sun-cap, which is the imported products into the country. There we have multifaceted approaches. First, we have internationally accredited organizations that do certification and inspection. We have contracts with them, and importers bringing things into Nigeria will go through the 6 people we have right now contract with them. They will certify the product you are bringing into the country, and then we give them a certification we call sun-cap, where when the products come into the country through the ports or airport, they will present those certificates, and then they will be okay to come in. Now, we have another certification, which is like a middle of the way between the sun-cap and the man-cap, which is like a waiver certification for manufacturers who bring in raw materials into the country. Now, they, on the other hand, they don't need to get a certification because that would be double certification. What they need is a certificate saying they can bring in the product into the country. And then when they bring the products into the country, we inspect them, and then they go and process them then into the product that we already have a man-cap for them. So that's the processes. Now, I understand that, the difficulty people are going through because we are upgrading our systems. We are making sure there's more automation where people from all over the country can just sit in their offices and order their certificates they require. But that requires a lot of ICT and a lot of money, which right now we are investing. So hopefully there will be more efficiency in the system in the next couple of months. But for now, still individuals can log onto the computer and apply for sun-cap, and they will get it within a few days. So we do have a Servicom desk in our organization where if people have issues with our services or there's a problem, they should reach out to those officers in our organization, and their problems will be addressed properly. So it's a continuous process. We're improving the system, and once in a while we do reach out to the industry. We meet with Manufacturers Association of Nigeria and importers of associations to see how we can improve the process. So that's basically what it is.
Well, Mr. Salim, you've identified some of the challenges that you have
Yes.
And it's interesting to hear you in that regard. But I would like to ask you a question about your testing capabilities. Do you have enough capacity? Do you have any challenge in that direction for you to be able to ensure quality assurance? But before you answer, we have a story that we need to take very quickly. The Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs has released a statement saying that its attention has been drawn to a new series of videos circulated on social media by a Nigerian resident in Switzerland, Agbaise Francis Chinedu, in which he falsely claimed to have been blacklisted by the Nigerian embassy in Bern, Switzerland. The statement reads in part, and I quote, "The ministry wishes to state that contrary to Mr. Agbaise's claim, the embassy did not blacklist him or any individual from receiving consular services at the mission. Mr. Agbaise visited the embassy on Thursday, the 11th of March 2021, for his earlier booked appointment and was duly attended to like every other applicant. He was issued a collection slip and was asked to return for his passport on Monday, 22nd March 2021. Rather than comply, accordingly, Mr. Agbaise insisted that his passport must be issued to him immediately, adding that he was not satisfied with the date generated by the system. Thereafter, he proceeded to release another unwarranted video where he made false and disparaging comments against the ambassador and staff of the embassy." That's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Salim, back to you very quickly in the short time that we have left. Any challenge with testing capabilities?
Dr. Abate, can you ask me that question? This announcement took my interest away, and you know I'm a diaspora person. So can you ask me the question again, please?
Testing capabilities. Do you have any challenge in that regard?
Testing capabilities, yes. We have a world-class facility in Oba here in Lagos, and we have the ability to test most of the products in this country, and we are adding more capacity to that complex. In fact, we just finished building another 3-story complex that will house more equipment, more lab ability for our job. And once in a while, we do reach out to private labs with our permission for them to test the other products that we don't have the ability to do. But that's really very rare. Most of the products that we have in this country, we have the ability to test them, and we do test them within a short period of time so that, you know, people will not be delayed from doing their businesses.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the presence of SON at the ports. How do you balance your presence and allegations that your officials caused delays in discharging, with the discharge of cargo from vessels, compared to the importance of ease of doing business? You might recall that the former Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, recommended that SON should leave the ports, as did the current Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. And there are also allegations of corruption by some of your officials. Can you address that? Briefly, please.
Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, in her wisdom, 10 years ago, with enthusiasm, thinking that by now we should have screeners in the port where people may not necessarily have the need for physical inspection, ban most of the organizations out of the port. But several years later, NAFDAC was allowed in the port. The funny thing is, NAFDAC is an organization that checks 2 items, food and drugs. Standard organization checks all the other items that NAFDAC is not checking. Also, by law, which has not been reversed yet, 2015 Act, Standard Organization Act, gave us the right, Section 30, subsection B, gave us the right to be at the port to make sure that we inspect products coming into the country. Now,
Salim, on that note.
Yes, sir.
On that note, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much indeed.